Hello again, and welcome to Privars Fiskefly. Today we're gonna tie this fly. This is a Bucktail Mackrel imitation. It's a nice tie. It's made of two colors of Bucktail. And some pseudo marabou and some white yarn on the bottom. And I put some flash in it as well to make it shine a little more. It's very nice. It's gonna imitate a mackerel, a little mackerel. And I use some materials to make this fly. Very nice. Little bit time consuming because I've used these two parts of Bucktail. One Bucktail and one white. But when you get the hang of it, it will be a very easy fly to make. Okay? So, well, let's start tying then. Well, the description of this fly is, well, let me start by showing you the hook I've been using. This type is an off-brand hook in size 2, I think. The size is not so important. It has to have a big hook gap. Okay. The flash I've been using is in the back. Is orange flashabou, 3 strands, goes all the way into the back of the fly. Okay, I've been using 2 parts of Bucktail on this. For the top I've been using olive Bucktail, and for the bottom I've been using white Bucktail. Okay, I've been using some grizzly saddle feather on the side here. Okay, and the ice is 5mm stick-on ice flat, and the top part of the fly is pseudo marabou in olive, and the bottom part is my secret yarn, white long fibered yarn, and the flash in the middle of the fly is Angelina fiber in pearl. I've been using the thread I've been using is GSP 50 denier, and I'll be using let us see. The glue I've been using all the way for this fly is Liquid Fusion. And to cover all the ice, at least I've been using this Gorilla Glue. Very nice glue. And first glue I've been using on the thread wrap is this water-based lacquer. See how thin it is. Let's see, have I been forgetting something? I will cover the glue. I cover the pseudo marabou and the white on bottom, the 2 types of Bucktail, the hackle. The color of this fly is becoming black on this markings on top, permanent marker, and I've been using this for the orange underbelly, pro marker, the gills. Yeah, and to make the thread go sticky, I've been using this ski wax. I had this bottle for 10 years, I think. It'll stay with me for the rest of my life. I cannot be using it all up. Well, that's all I used for this fly. That's all the materials, all the glue, all the stuff. So let's get on with the tying then. Well, now we're gonna start tying. I start with putting a hook in the vise, attaching my thread, wind back to the hook band, and I take one piece of olive Bucktail. That's gonna be the top part of this fly. It's gonna be two-toned. with 2 colors. I touch the first bunch of olive, measure out how long I want this fly to be. It's about that. Moisten it if you just take out the longest, most straggly pieces. I think that's the right length. And just it's not gonna go all around the hook, just the top part, okay, like that. And take care of the stumps and take your bucktail is gonna be supporting the flash. The flash is gonna be 3 or 4 strands of flashabou. You can easily make this longer than the bucktail. That's about right. You can cut it afterwards like that and just double it over. Now you have it. You can easily just cut it a little longer than the bucktail. Okay, you see, now you're going somewhere. Okay, and this is the top part. I'm gonna whip this little hook around and I take the bottom part. It's gonna be the white bucktail, and I snip off a new piece, measure out just about almost the length as the olive, but a little shorter, okay, like that. Snip off and attach it. This is the most tricky part because this is on the bottom and the hook is in the way. You have to use some little persuasion. Just preen the fibers down like this. Like that. The white underbelly is now coming to see. And now it's time for some little glue. I'll use the liquid fusion as I always do on these flies, like this. Now it's time for the second part of the olive. And pick out a little bunch again. Measure out half the length of the first one I chose, about 2/3 of the length I will say, just to build a little taper in the fly. Just as the first one. Don't push all the way around, just half the way with your thumb and forefinger. You don't have to reverse this type because this bulk is going to be just about right for this fly. And turn it around, take the white underbelly again. Don't overdo this fly. You don't want a big fat bulky fly. You want a slim profile on this fly. It will look the nicest, okay? Again, measure out. So at the 2/3 of the length of the first bunch of bucktail, like that. Snip it around. Just persuade the fibers going on the sides. You can also snip off this end to make yourself a little favor. Okay. Now there's time for some more glue. And second, the third bunch of the olive on top. Pick out the longest one. You don't want that. Measure out to build the taper. And put it on top. Some loose wrappings. Make it go halfway around. Like that. Turn it around. Take the white underbelly again. Take out the shortest fiber that only will mess up your fly. Measure out the length again. Think about that. Would be right. Use your time to make the taper on this fly, because you will be more happy with the fly that way. Okay. Some more glue. It's getting ready to we are getting closer to the hook eye now. Now I have to take my hackle feather and put it onto the sides of the fly. Let's go way down to the end of the fly. First my side, some wrappings to make them stay. Point them back so we don't loosen. Snip it off. Take the second part, second feather, measure out the length you want. So we get the same length as the first one. I think that's what's about the length I want. Use some time for this so we get the length you want. Just about, oh, a little too long. I saw that now. I have to take it up again. Just measure out like that. Point it back and tie off. Okay, that was the feathers. And now I want some flash. I use some Angelina fiber just to put it into the fly on top like that. Have this flashy on top. Okay, and now there is time for one of the last bunches of the olive that goes on top. Take out the thickest and most straggly fibers, longest one, measure out, lay them on top, snip it off. Turn it around and take the last bunch of underbelly, white underbelly bucktail. Measure out, not too long. This fly is gonna have the water treatment, so we'll get this final shape. Measure out how long you want it. This thread is very slippery, so you can use some wax if you want. Now for the final part, I'll just take some wax on my thread so it bites into the materials a little more easily. Okay. We'll see the difference at once. Okay. You can use your... See, there is some problems with the attaching the... It goes up. I was doing a little mistake here. I was cutting off the materials very steep, so it slide off. This just it was a fault I was doing now, so I take it up again and do it over. So start again, take the last part of the white underbelly, snip it off, measure out. So now I'm doing it right. Take it on to the hook like that. I have it, and snip it off in a angled fashion, and some more. Wax on it, and now you see it will not go on, but I managed to salvage it after all. Okay, now it's there. So you see, now you have this fly. Now the thing is gonna come on. We're gonna have the top part. I'm gonna use some pseudo marble to make the top. There is some pretty long fiber in this, so I take a quite bunch that's pretty long. It goes on the top like that. Measure out. I want it to be as long as this, over the top. Snip this baby off. like that. Okay, and I take the under one. There is gonna be this white yarn I have. It's a woolly yarn. And I take a nice piece. It's going not quite as long as the green one, but about the 2/3 I think. Measure out, take it on top, just let it go around the hook point like this. You're gonna comb it all together afterwards. And snip it off. Get rid of the stumps. Do some whip finish. Cut it like that. Okay, now you see you have this nice fly in front of you. You take your comb it out, comb it all together, and like that. When you get this water treatment on this, you have this nice fly that's going look like $1 million. I'm not able to do that just now because I have to put on some ice and make this all go together, but I'm gonna put some markings on this. I want some markings on the back, and I use a instant marker for this. Because the little mackerel has quite instinct markings on the top. All the way over the green. And I'm gonna use this ice to put on, and I use for this glue I use the Thermander. That is a very nice glue to have. Just check your bottle, it seeps out. I put it on side, nice dab of it. It seeps into the fly, into the hook, and we'll bind this ice together. You have to just wait some minutes and make it all go and cut it out and bind it together. I mean, now you get to get the ice off the so we have the first one. And the second one coming right off now. The paper, do like that. Measure out how you want it. You can take your time, use your lacquer and just put it on my wrappings, let it seep in so it stays there. You see now, if you can use some water treatment on this, you will make a very nice profile. I want to have some orange on bottom here, so I take an instant marker and just use this tip to make a nice color on the bottom here. Just not fool around with the eyes. You can color it afterwards when the glue has dried. So I'm gonna come back and show you when this glue has dried, and you can see for yourself after water treatment. I'm gonna show how the fly looks when it's wet, and it's gonna look like $1 million. Well, you see, this was all the tying of the mackerel, bucktail mackerel. You see how I tied this fly with the two colors, white bucktail on the underbelly and olive bucktail on the top, and covered it all up with some pseudo marabou and some white yarn on the bottom, pseudo marabou olive on top, and white yarn on the bottom to make it all come together as a nice fly to have in the box. I'm gonna put this aside now and let it dry, and let you all see what it looks when the eyes are getting dried up, and you can use your fingers to make this get the shape you want. Okay. Well, now the fly is dried a little, so I could color the rest of the fly on the bottom. It's gonna be clear color when it's all completely dried, but it's dry enough to put this final coating over the eyes. So I take this Gorilla Glue and check that the nozzle is not clogged up, and put a little dab on top. I have to squeeze the little baby a little more. See, we're coming a little drop. That drop is gonna make a little 3D effect. I take my dubbing needle. It's all clogged up with glue and stuff. I have to clean it a little with my scissors. Use the back of the scissors to do this, so you don't dull your scissors. You see now, you have a little drop. It's looking like a 3D eye, but I don't like the 3D eyes so much. Use your dubbing needle to make the glue go over the edge of the eye. Make it glue into the rest of the fly. That was the one side, and flip it over. Take the other side. Do the same procedure. Put a little drop on top. And I assure you guys, this ice is never gonna fall off. Never. And try to avoid the most of the air bubbles, but if you have UV resin, of course you can do that. But I'm allergic to the stuff, unfortunately, so I cannot use that kind of stuff anymore. But this is a good replacement. Now you see, now you can use the little rotation on the fly, make it look very nice. And this ice is gonna stay there all night, all life, I might say. If you want, you can take some drop onto the thread webs as well. I'm gonna do that for you now that I'm making this video. Use your support your hands when you're doing this. If you're not steady on that like I am. Some more. I'm gonna have some more. There you have it. Now we covered up your thread wraps and everything. Everything looks alright. Now it's time for the drying wheel for this fly, to make it all dry up, and some water treatment. And this fly is ready to fish, to catch the big sea trout. The mackerel and the sea trout are running together, and of course some of the small mackerel baitfish is going into the sea trout's mouth. So this is the finished fly. Only some dip in the water remains. I'm gonna post a little picture of this on the video, so we will see how it looks wet. Okay, that's all I had, and thank you all for watching this video, and I welcome you back to my next. Please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. You will always get the latest video from me. Tight lines, and bye bye.